like kids? I don't think so. I'm sorry.
What are you sorry about?
Sorry you got stuck with us.
Well, honey, you're stuck with me, too.
You too, Jody. You're a little man.
I can't be a man.
The year is 1966. Through the lens of a television camera, an 8-year-old girl grips a beloved rag doll, her eyes bright with innocence as millions of Americans welcome her into their homes. For 5 years, Anissa Jones would charm the nation as Buffy on Family Affair, becoming one of the most recognizable child stars of her era. But behind the carefully scripted lines and picture-perfect smiles lay a story both inspiring and cautionary, a tale of talent and triumph, of pressure and pain, and ultimately of a childhood forever shaped by the glare of the spotlight. In an age when social media transforms children into stars overnight, Anissa's journey from a small-town dreamer to television icon resonates more powerfully than ever. This is her story, not just of Buffy, the character America loved, but of Anissa, the girl America never truly knew. Early life Mary Anissa Jones was born on March 11, 1958 in West Lafayette, Indiana, into a world where television was rapidly becoming the heart of American entertainment. The eldest of 2 children, she spent her early years in a modest Midwestern home, where weekends meant family picnics and neighborhood adventures. Her parents, Mary Paula and John Paul Jones, raised her in the kind of quiet, traditional environment that would soon feel like a distant memory. The pivotal moment came in 1964 when the Jones family moved to California. While the relocation was prompted by John Paul's engineering career, it unknowingly set the stage for Anissa's entry into show business. Her mother was the first to notice something extraordinary in her 6-year-old daughter, a natural ability to captivate attention and an unusual poise for her age. What began as simple dance lessons soon evolved into a series of auditions. Anissa proved remarkably adept at following directions and projecting charm on camera. Local casting directors quickly took notice of the little girl with expressive eyes and natural screen presence. Her first successes came through commercials, breakfast cereals, toy advertisements, and department store spots all sought out the child who could connect with audiences effortlessly. As small roles began to multiply, tensions emerged within the family. While her father expressed growing concern about the pressures being placed on his young daughter, her mother saw each audition as a step towards something greater. These early years would later be remembered as the last glimpse of normalcy in Anissa's life, before scripts and studio lights became her daily reality. Rise to fame. Everything changed for Anissa in 1966 when CBS began casting for a new situation comedy called Family Affair. The show's premise centered around Bachelor Bill Davis and his butler, Mr. French, whose comfortable Manhattan life is upended when they become guardians to 3 orphaned children. The network needed someone special to play 6-year-old Buffy, a role that would require both emotional depth and comedic timing. At 8 years old, Anissa captured exactly what producers were seeking. Her natural ability to deliver lines with both innocence and precision set her apart from hundreds of other young hopefuls. The chemistry between her and Sebastian Cabot, who played Mr. French, was immediately apparent. Alongside Johnny Whitaker, cast as her twin brother Jody, and Kathy Garver as older sister Sissy, Anissa created television magic. Family Affair premiered in September 1966 and quickly became one of CBS's most successful shows. Anissa's portrayal of Buffy won hearts across America. Her character's signature companion, Mrs. Beasley Doll, became a must-have toy, with manufacturers struggling to meet demand. Magazine covers, personal appearances, and merchandising deals followed. By age 9, Anissa Jones was a household name. The show's success brought both opportunities and obligations. While other children her age attended regular school and played in neighbourhoods, Anissa's days were filled with rehearsals, filming, and tutoring between takes. Public appearances required her to maintain Buffy's innocent persona, even as she grew older. The line between Anissa Jones and her character Buffy began to blur, creating an identity that would prove increasingly difficult to separate as the years progressed. Behind the scenes, the reality of life as a child star in the 1960s bore little resemblance to the cheerful episodes that played out on television screens. Anissa's typical day began before sunrise, often stretching 12 hours or more. School lessons were squeezed into 20-minute segments between scenes, with the studio teacher attempting to maintain educational continuity in a makeshift classroom just steps from the set. The demands of maintaining Buffy's image grew increasingly challenging as Anissa approached adolescence. The producers insisted she continue carrying the Mrs. Beasley doll and wearing childish clothing even as she outgrew both physically and emotionally. Her natural maturation became a source of concern for the production team, who went to great lengths to preserve Buffy's perpetual childhood. Relationships on set were complex. While Johnny Whittaker and Kathy Garver became like siblings to her, the pressures of being the show's breakout star created subtle tensions. Sebastian Cabot, who played Mr. French, often served as a protective figure, advocating for breaks when he noticed Anissa's energy flagging. Yet even these bonds were constrained by the relentless production schedule and the artificial nature of their shared environment. At home, the success of Family Affair had transformed family dynamics. Her earnings, while substantial, were mostly locked away in a trust fund. The strain of managing both a career and a childhood began to show, marking the beginning of challenges that would follow her long after the cameras stopped rolling. Personal struggles. When Family Affair ended in 1971, 13-year-old Anissa faced the daunting task of redefining herself in a world that knew her only as Buffy. The transition proved far more challenging than anyone had anticipated. Her parents' divorce, finalized the same year the show ended, added another layer of complexity to an already difficult period of adjustment. Returning to regular school became an exercise in frustration. Classmates either expected her to be the perpetually cheerful Buffy or resented her former celebrity status. Teachers struggled to treat her like any other student, some starstruck, others overly critical. Despite her years of on-set tutoring, the irregular nature of her education left gaps that became apparent in a traditional classroom setting. The entertainment industry offered little support during this transition. Casting directors saw her only as Buffy, making it nearly impossible to land different roles. When offered parts, they were invariably variations of the character she'd grown to resent. Anissa began refusing auditions, expressing a desire to leave acting altogether. Her mother, who had carefully managed her career, found it difficult to accept this change in direction. Financial security, which should have provided some comfort, remained frustratingly out of reach. California's strict laws regarding child performers meant most of her earnings were locked in a trust fund until her 18th birthday. While this legislation protected child actors from exploitation, it also created a strange limbo where Anissa had been wealthy on paper but lived a much more modest reality. The psychological impact of these years proved profound. Having spent her formative years playing a character, Anissa struggled to develop her own identity. The constant pressure to live up to Buffy's image while trying to break free from it created an emotional tug-of-war that would define her teenage years. Final years, the challenges of Anissa's teenage years deepened as she approached adulthood. Following her parents' divorce, she moved between her mother's and father's homes, struggling to find stability. The identity crisis that began after Family Affair intensified. Friends from this period recall a young woman torn between her past fame and her desire for a normal future. Her 18th birthday brought access to her trust fund, finally giving her control over the earnings from her years of work. But financial independence proved to be a complex freedom. Like many young people suddenly granted significant resources, she found herself unprepared for the responsibility it brought. In the summer of 1976, Anissa seemed to be exploring new directions. She spoke of traveling, of possibly studying medicine, of building a life away from Hollywood. But these dreams would remain unrealized. On August 28, 1976, just months after her 18th birthday, Anissa Jones passed away from an accidental drug overdose in Oceanside, California. Her death sent shockwaves through Hollywood and sparked important conversations about the welfare of child actors. The bright-eyed girl who had once charmed millions as Buffy had struggled to find her place in a world that had already decided who she was supposed to be. Legacy and impact. Anissa Jones's story catalyzed significant changes in the entertainment industry's treatment of child performers. Her experience highlighted the need for stronger protections for young actors, leading to enhanced regulations about working hours, education requirements, and psychological support. The Coogan Law, which already existed to protect child actors' earnings, was strengthened in response to cases like hers. Her portrayal of Buffy continues to influence popular culture. Family Affair reruns introduced new generations to her talent, while the Mrs. Beasley doll became a collector's item, symbolizing both the show's impact and the commodification of child stars. Television historians often cite her performance as a benchmark for natural child acting, noting how she avoided the artificial precociousness common in child performers of that era. Beyond entertainment, Anissa's story became a powerful cautionary tale about the price of early fame. Her struggles helped raise awareness about the unique challenges faced by child actors transitioning to adult life. Youth advocacy groups and entertainment industry reformers still reference her case when pushing for better protections and support systems for young performers in an increasingly media-driven world. Lesser-known facts. Behind the carefully crafted public image lay a young woman with diverse interests and hidden talents that few ever glimpsed. Anissa was an accomplished swimmer, spending countless hours in the pool when not on set. Her high school friends remember her as surprisingly athletic, excelling in both swimming and tennis, despite her limited time for sports. Contrary to her scripted persona, those who knew her described Anissa as notably intelligent with a quick, often sardonic wit. She displayed a particular aptitude for science and mathematics, subjects that rarely aligned with her public image. In private conversations, she expressed dreams of pursuing medicine, specifically pediatrics, wanting to help children in a way far removed from entertainment. Her relationship with her younger brother Paul revealed another side of her character. Despite her own struggles, she remained fiercely protective of him, often using her influence to shield him from the pressures of Hollywood. She encouraged his interests outside of entertainment, supporting his desire for a normal childhood that she herself never experienced. The Mrs. Beasley doll, while beloved by fans, was actually a source of private amusement for Anissa, who would often make irreverent jokes about it when cameras weren't rolling. Echoes in today's world. Anissa Jones's story resonates powerfully in today's digital age, where child stardom has evolved beyond television studios to YouTube channels and social media platforms. The pressures she faced in the 1960s mirror those experienced by modern young influencers, maintaining a public image, sacrificing normalcy for fame, and navigating the blurred lines between personal and public life. The monetization of childhood, which began with television and merchandising during Anissa's era, has expanded exponentially. Today's child performers face similar challenges of identity and autonomy, their lives commodified for public consumption. The Mrs. Beasley doll phenomenon finds its modern equivalent in merchandise lines built around young social media stars. The mental health challenges Anissa encountered continue to affect young performers. While today's industry has more safeguards and support systems, the fundamental struggle of growing up in the public eye remains unchanged. Her story serves as a crucial reference point in ongoing discussions about child labour laws in social media, streaming platforms, and traditional entertainment. The questions raised by Anissa's experiences about consent, childhood agency, and the long-term impact of early fame are more relevant than ever as new forms of child stardom emerge in the digital landscape. Time has a way of transforming stories, but Anissa Jones's legacy endures both as a celebration of talent and a reminder of the responsibility we bear to protect young performers. In her brief 18 years, she left an indelible mark on television history, while her personal journey continues to inform how we approach child stardom. Today, when we watch reruns of Family Affair, we see not just Buffy, but Anissa herself, a bright, complex young woman whose story helped change the entertainment industry forever. Her memory lives on, not just in syndicated episodes, but in every reform and protection that makes childhood stardom a little safer for those who follow. Thank you for joining us for this look back at the life of Anissa Jones. If you found her story moving, please consider subscribing to our channel where we explore more untold stories from entertainment history.